nobody that lives in Nashville wears cowboy boots. I mean, obviously some do.
That is really funny you say that, because like when I moved here like 8 years ago, I remember everyone was like, oh, you must wear a lot of cowboy. I'm like, nobody wears cowboy boots.
No, I was like, we're not Texas.
Welcome, Krista Roser, to What's Mine Is Yours.
Thank you.
I am really excited to have you, not only because I love all things fashion and styling, like I have like 5 closets at home, but also you just told me I'm your first podcast.
I am. You're popping my podcast cherry. Yeah.
That's really exciting. And I'm actually shocked with and we'll get to all of your success in what you do, but with everyone that you have styled and everything you've done, you haven't been on a podcast.
Yeah, I think, podcasts have really grown tremendously in the past 5 years for sure, but definitely in the last 2 to 3 years.
Oh yeah.
I really just became a podcast girly in the sense of listening to them probably in the last 2 years. Yeah. So I'm kind of new to it.
I mean, so am I. I started listening to only murder podcasts, and then I was like, I think I'd want to give this a shot. So it's been a lot of fun so far. But thank you so much for being on here.
Yeah, thank you for having me and asking me.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. On this show, I interview everybody who does something in the music business, field, industry. What would you say is your title in this industry?
Well, there's a couple titles. My agency likes for me to use the word celebrity stylist.
Okay.
Coming from a small town, that makes me a little unnerved to use sometimes.
Yeah.
Or fashion stylist.
Okay. So what does a stylist do in the celebrity world for people that are listening?
What do we not do? Anything asked? No, I'm just kidding. Well, I always say that I am in charge of helping grow their brand from an image standpoint. So we're involved in all major events for the client, say red carpets, music videos, press campaigns, premiere red carpets for if I have actors and actresses, pretty much everything, tour. We have a lot of content shoots these days because of all the different aspects of things. We probably have more of those than anything these days.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's really not. It's been really interesting to see the evolution of what's needed from us over the years, because it has changed because of all the content that's needed now. We didn't used to have content shoots. We used to have album cover shoots. But now you've got to have a cover for every song, every DSP, everything that's being released. So now there's just so much. And then there's all these different video aspects that didn't used to be there that are now too as well.
Yeah, because that's how most people promote their things now, is just through various vertical shot content that's on Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah, for sure. And we're now just doing more of those a year, whereas you used to be in an album for an entire year. So we'd have one album shoot a year back in the day. And now we're doing content shoots every few months.
Yeah, absolutely. So why the celebrity world? What drew you to that? Obviously you probably have always had a love of fashion, so I would love you to talk about that. But what drew you to the celebrity side of fashion?
So I've really only done fashion as a career my entire life. I went to school for it. I used to live in New York and worked for actual designers. And then I evolved from that to working as a fashion editor for a magazine.
Fun.
And then from there, I realized I was in Nashville, and I realized that not a lot of people were utilizing styling like New York and LA did, in the sense of working with brands or doing that with country artists. There were a handful of stylists in Nashville, and it was they were super creative, but there was a lot of purchasing, making things and such like that. Mm-hmm. But I'm the country consumer is so large. These people should be working together with designers. And it became a passion of mine to be a part of that.
What would you say would be your first entry into styling an artist? What would you say was your pinch me moment? You're okay, I'm doing this now.
I had an agency based in Nashville at one point, and I did a lot of different types of styling through that, and I would get smaller artist jobs in the beginning. And then from there, I did a lot of networking. And I was still working as the fashion editor as well. So I still had that going
Busy.
too. And then I put out some things to different like heads of labels or people part of the creative teams, like showcasing what I would do for certain artists that I didn't think was working with stylists yet. Because I would never want to go against somebody that already had somebody. But there was a new act in town that I just really wanted to be a part of, and they weren't quite yet working like with stylists. I think they were using the creative team for their label. And so I put a deck together, and it did get to the head of the label's desk, but it sat there for a little while. And they were in a situation where right before CMA Awards, they didn't like anything that somebody pulled. And so they called me, and I had 48 hours to pull all kinds of items for CMAs for that artist. And I did, and I came through, and they were happy. And from there, it just kept going.
That's amazing. Because in country music, I feel like there are so many trends that could either be considered like cliche or, I don't know, I think we're like, to other people, like we're just known as the fringe in cowboy boot land. How do you keep country music artists fresh, but yet still authentic?
I would say my biggest hurdle still to this day, even after all the years I have worked in this industry in country music, is going against that stereotype. I still send emails or reach out to different PR companies or brand PRs, and they're like, oh, but we just don't really have anything in the Western world. And I'm like, my client doesn't dress Western.
Yeah.
That's a stereotype. I was like, nobody that lives in Nashville wears cowboy boots. I mean, obviously some do.
That is really funny you say that, because like when I moved here like 8 years ago, I remember everyone was like, oh, you must wear a lot of cowboy. I'm like, nobody wears cowboy boots.
No, I was like, we're not Texas. So it's still something I still have to go against, because a lot of people work in fashion or in bubbles of the small parts of the United States or Europe that country music isn't quite as well known as they are in other parts of the world or the U.S. So it's a constant struggle. And I just try and like put mood boards together to showcase what I'm wanting or show past looks that I've done. And things like that. But I also like, it's really important to me with my clients to not feel like they're being styled by me per se. So it's really all about them and like the message that they want to put forth. Because to me, fashion is language.
For sure.
It's like saying something without saying anything at all. It's just first impression when you walk out on that stage. So like, it's important that the visual makes sense with the music and with the message. So that also depends. I may have a client that is in that stereotype of the Western vibes, and we go there.
Absolutely.
But then I may have other people that don't, and we don't.
Yeah. When it comes to like country music fashion, what would you say, just for fun, because it's not every day that I sit down with a stylist, so I even kind of want to know this. What is one country music fashion trend that you think needs to stay forever and one that needs to go?
I actually don't really follow trends.
Okay.
Because trends are fleeting normally. They cycle back and forth, obviously, over the years. So that, to me, is a really tough question, because I think what I would do for one client would be different than what I would do for another client. So, like, you know, some people can rock the low-rise jeans, and then some body types can't. So it just kind of depends on what's best for the client. It's not really following a trend per se at all. It's just about what works for them.
Is there something that then maybe to rephrase it, is there something that you love to see that like makes your heart happy, and then there's something that you cringe at sometimes that you...
Yeah, I mean, like staying in the stereotypes. I like when people play around and like do something different or be individual. I really hate when people just like follow what a lot of other people are doing. And that happens like in our industry in general. Like if somebody's popping off and doing well, then another label's like, oh, we've got to get that version of that. And I like people to be individuals and be
kinda
themselves. And
like every guy for a while was having the Morgan Wallen cut. Like they all
Yes.
looked like Morgan Wallen. I was like, well, you can't have 50 of you.
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching an episode of Toy Story where there was multiple Buzz Lightyears.
It's basically that. Yeah.
Like you got to be able to find a way to stand out.
Yeah, and be yourself. Because like if anything, now with social media and everybody have like feeling like they know everybody, authenticity is key. And if you're just following somebody else, that's not really being authentically you. Mm-hmm. That's just following something. It doesn't take a lot of work to do that. You're just copying.
Who would you say someone that you've worked with or even someone you haven't worked with that you think is really good at being authentically them style-wise?
I think Florida Georgia Line I worked with for several years, and I feel like they were always authentically them. They were always trailblazers and did their own thing, and they didn't care if they had a lot of haters or if somebody didn't like something. If they liked it, they did it. And I always respected them for that, and they don't get enough credit for that. Mm-hmm. And they should.
Well, I was about to say, I kind of feel like they did trailblaze a certain look, which is interesting because looking through like your socials and like the artists you work with, which leads me into my next question, is I think that you have like a signature. I think there is a signature to you. And
really?
I really
didn't think I did.
I personally do. I can see a trend.
Okay.
And maybe it started with FGL, but in a sense. But I think that there is a little bit of, in my opinion, like an edge that you put into every artist that you style, which I think is really refreshing. I love an edgier look. I love less cookie cutter and more a little of like that, almost like that rock and roll feel in a sense. So would you say that you have a signature thing that you try to pop into any look? Even
actually, I'm surprised you even said that because I feel like I try really hard not, like I want somebody to always look like they've been put together and it looked cool and different and like special. But I always, again, I don't want them to be like, oh, I bet Krista Roser styled that person.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if
it's not about. No. I mean, now that you said that, I guess that would probably stem from me trying so hard to stay away from the stereotype.
Huh?
And so me always wanting to try and make my people look different and unique.
Yeah.
So that might be what that is. But I don't intentionally do that.
Interesting. Well, maybe artists, though, could gravitate to you for the fact that maybe you not even knowingly have a little bit of like an edge to the style, which I love because that's how I am. I love edgier. So every time I've looked at anybody you've styled, I am like, yeah, I love that. Like that's cool. And like you use the word cool, and I feel like that's a really good description of kind of your trend with artists is cool. Like I love everything you're doing with Ray Lynn right now.
Oh, thank you. She's fun.
That is like, she's some of the best stage outfits I've seen in a really long time.
That means a lot. Thank you.
So it's really, really cool. So I that's funny that you don't think that you have like a niche of something.
Yeah, I guess I just always thought my niche was making sure that I made all my clients look and feel different and feel like them.
Yeah.
But different.
For sure.
Yeah.
How would you say that you balance, because I think this would probably be hard as a stylist, and balancing the artist's personality, what's going on in the world right now. I know you say you don't follow trends, but in the sense of kind of like, at least you don't want someone to feel so off base of something that doesn't really kind of make sense to an audience. So how do you balance the music, the personality of the person, and decently what's going on out there?
Well, to me, I never forget at the end of the day who our consumer is. Mm-hmm. So even though I want it to have a little bit of an edge, I want it to look like an artist and be a little bit special, there's got to be a sense of a like reach there with the consumer. Mm-hmm. So like one of the things, to answer again your question that you asked me a while ago about one thing I don't really like sometimes, mm-hmm. is people just like throwing brands on people.
Ooh,
like
yeah.
Just because it's luxury, it's better.
Mm-hmm.
That's not always the case. And especially in country music, like your country consumer needs a wide variety of like price points and options, and everybody wants to feel like they can have a little bit of what the person has. So like I always mix like expensive and inexpensive together, or I don't necessarily just gravitate towards brands or anything like that. So I want things to be approachable, attainable, but also still artist friendly and unique and different in them.
And I kind of feel like that's how people would approach an artist in general. Like you want the artist to feel like you could grab coffee with them tomorrow, but at the same time, they're just a little bit out of reach.
Yes.
There's something, and I think personally with all of, now I want to get your opinion on this, is I feel like social media has done a little bit of the opposite with that. I don't love, like, I love that I feel like I can get online and see like Kelsey Ballerini and feel like I know her. But at the same time, I feel like I'm a little too close sometimes. I'm like, I feel in social media, we've gotten a little too access to, like, there isn't any mystery anymore with a lot of people. Now, whether that's done purposefully or not, like, that's why I think I've always loved the idea of the Carrie Underwood is, and maybe that was just like 20 years ago now. I mean, I'm just dating everything, but she was always like the Barbie in the box you couldn't play with.
Yeah.
And now I feel like we all have like the Barbies that we rip out of the box and we start messing with them and we're like playing with them ridiculously. And I think there is good to that for sure. But there is something about the world of, and that's maybe I like that in your fashion, is I feel like it is still a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I would wear that, but I would be really intrigued to wear it. And
but there are pieces from that you could wear.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's the point.
And going back to the struggle with balancing personality and artist, do you ever have any moments where it is difficult to work alongside maybe a label or someone on a team where they don't want you to do that with them?
To me, if it's not a collaborative process, it's really tough. It would be really tough for me to just be told what to do. And I'm probably not the stylist for that job.
Sure.
And that's okay, because there are certain people that's what they gravitate towards and that's what they prefer. And that's okay. We all have our space and our whatever, and you're not always going to mesh with everybody.
No.
So I have a tendency to kind of need to be with somebody that knows a little bit of who they are. And then it be a collaborative like situation. It is tough just in general for the music industry, just because you have a lot of opinions. So you've got not only the label's opinion, but you have the artist's opinion, you have the management team's opinion. Sometimes I hear from the accounting department. Sometimes I hear because everybody wears clothes, they feel like they have an opinion on clothes. It's so much easier. They can't tell people how to play guitar unless they know how to play guitar. They can't tell people how to do things that they don't necessarily do on an everyday basis. But because everybody wears clothing, everybody has an opinion about it. They don't always know what goes into it, what's behind it, all the aspects of it. So yeah, some people just give opinions, and a lot of those times opinions come from their own personal style. And that's the difference between a stylist and an everyday person, is we take our personal style out of the equation and look at it from our client's perspective and the goal and the job and whatever we are working on. Our personal style doesn't necessarily matter. We're picking out what's best for them.
Right. It has nothing to do with you.
And that's a really tough thing for the average person to do.
Well, now, because you say you don't think about yourself in that regard, is there somebody that you style that you'd be like, I would dress like them?
No.
Really?
I don't have anybody that I style that I mean, there's aspects of it that I think are cool and I would probably wear, but also people are built differently. Like Raylan's style is so fun and so kitschy and so cool and cute and edgy. It's like all the vibes, but I'm a little bit more classic than that personally. But that's just me.
Yeah.
If you meet Ray, it totally makes sense with her personality.
Totally.
She is the most bubbly, fun, energetic person you'll ever meet in your entire life. And I never want to not show that in her clothing.
And I think you've done a really good, because that was like one of the main ones when I look at your stuff. I'm like, oh gosh, because I actually never knew that you styled her, because I follow her on Instagram, obviously. And I'm always like, gosh, I love her stage looks. They're the coolest. How long does that take to prep for?
Well, you'd be surprised how much time we get sometimes. It comes in stages on how much time we get. But a lot of times we're working on a little bit of time. So recently I've gotten things in the day of an event for her.
Wow.
But she's really good in the sense that we actually have sit downs. We like go over mood boards together and sketches, and We name her outfits, which is always so fun. That's something we've started to do the last couple of years, which is fun. It's like, oh, this is Tammy with an IE. And she's like, such a Tammy with an IE. Or something like that. So it's like fun. So she's like very much involved, very like a part of the collaborative process.
But you can tell she likes it. Like, I think there are some people where they're just like, dress me. And then there's some people where like you can tell they're into fashion, like they want it. And to me, from an outsider looking in, she looks like she's into it, and she always feels really looks like she feels really confident in what she's wearing. And I'm sure that's part of what you want is like no matter who you're styling, you want them to feel confident, because if they're not reading that, then your work doesn't even show up the way you want it to show up.
If we don't make them feel confident, they're not gonna put out the best version of them for whatever it is that we're doing. The show, the video, whatever it is. So confidence is always number one for me.
For sure.
And I can tell that in a fitting when they put something on, like, okay, I can tell you're not feeling this. Let's move on. I want you to light up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you say has been like your biggest, a funny story about like an emergency that you've had?
When is there not an emergency?
Always putting out fires, I'm sure. But what's something that...
always. I mean, the time crunches are always a thing. Boxes getting lost is a normal thing, or being late. Traveling, luggage, that sort of thing. I mean, we've had people bust zippers getting off of a carpet, and I have to take them in the bathroom and sew them up. Or we've had things get spilled last minute and have to change really quickly. I mean, what hasn't happened, to be honest? Like, you just roll with the punches and you just always have a solution.
Yeah, you'll kind of have to. I mean, it's funny, like because I've been an artist in town, and I remember when I was not here, I was in California, and I always think about this when I'm talking to someone like you, that I don't wear a lot of undergarments, okay? Like, I don't know if that's TMI, but I just don't. And I had those like leggings that zip up in the back, and my in-ear pack was just too heavy on the back, and I was on stage, and it unzipped the whole back of my pants. And I remember my drummer being like, oh my gosh, like that's a full moon, like, and so my manager at the time had to come and like zip me up on stage. And it's like, those things happen all the time. And how often do you stay at shows? Do you watch over things? Like for a red carpet, are you there the whole time kind of watching over your artists?
It depends. Obviously when I'm on a carpet with several people, I can't be there with everybody. So it's normally chatted about ahead of time, like who's with who. I generally supply somebody to be there unless they just can't have us travel, due to budgets or whatever. For tours, it depends on the type of tour. If they're just doing like jeans, t-shirts, that kind of thing, obviously I just set up the tour cases and they're on their own. When I set up an actual tour with like custom looks and like say there's changes or anything like special, I generally like to go out for the first run and just make sure everything's good. And then normally you have like a dresser or somebody that handles wardrobe on tour that goes from there.
Okay.
And then we communicate back and forth throughout the tour on like if there's any needs or if I need to send a tailor out or if I need to send new options or whatever it is. It's just a constant communication.
I don't know if you've worked with her because I don't know if you post everybody, but have you ever worked with Megan Maroney?
No, I haven't.
That is someone naturally in my brain when I look at like where she's leading, like stylistically, that you would work really well with. So I'm just saying.
Lindsay Dupree does a really good job with her.
Okay, so that's her stylist. Now, I think this is kind of a fun question, and I'd like to see your answer is if you had, I'm going to break it into 3 situations. If you had a dream client that you could work with, alive, dead, and fictional.
Ooh. Oh, I wish I was more prepared for this one. Alive, to be honest, right now, I've done so much in the music industry that I would love the challenge of doing like an actress on a major movie premiere, and doing like 10 to 12 like premiere looks and traveling the world. Like that is something I just have never done. So that's something that I would like to do. And I don't necessarily have a person in mind for that.
But just an actress.
Just Yeah, and it's a little different with actresses versus music too, because they're so used to being chameleons and being dressed up for the part. So they're a little bit more open to a bunch of different ideas and different situations. Whereas I'm not, with a musician, I'm working with just their perspective.
Well, you're totally, like, they actually have a brand as a musician.
Exactly.
An actress and an actors really don't have a brand per se.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of fun just because I could do so many different things.
That's
and
true.
just play.
Okay.
So that's one alive that I think would be cool. Guy or girl.
Okay.
And then dead. Ooh, that's Greer.
I feel like you could have done Prince or Michael Jackson.
Oh, that would have been.
But I don't want to put things in your head.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. That's tough. I go to old Hollywood though.
Okay.
I would have liked to have done like Marilyn Monroe or somebody like that, and then maybe add a little edge.
Yeah.
Something a little different.
Okay, and what about fictional?
Well, give me an example of what.
Okay, so the one I kept thinking in my head for you would be Katniss Everdeen.
Wait, who is
from
that?
Hunger Games.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know why, but like when I was looking through your stuff, I was like, I feel like she could have styled Katniss Everdeen.
I guess I didn't watch enough Hunger Games to really know much about that. I feel like when it's a fictional character, that's definitely like costume designer world, and that is a little bit different. But I would probably always go to a period piece.
Okay.
So like Pride and Prejudice or something like that, and then get to live in a different world that I didn't like actually exist in, and then get to feel like I'm kind of getting to coexist with it.
Okay, that's fun. It's so interesting, like actually sitting and talking to you and getting to know you versus just staring at like what you do, because the more you talk about more classic and period pieces and stuff like that, that is really interesting.
Oh, I'm a vintage girly.
Okay, I love it.
I personally love like estate sales and going vintage shopping, and I love looking at past fashion for inspiration, but then modernizing it and things like that. I mean, to be honest, these days, because of how the retail business or fashion business is going, nobody's really making a lot of they're not developing anything new, really. They're just taking old stuff and changing it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
So back then, there was just more art to it all. And I miss that.
Definitely.
And I'm drawn to that.
Because I know
Schiaparelli's a good one right now that I'm probably saying that wrong too.
What's Schiaparelli?
Schiaparelli, sorry.
What's Schiaparelli's?
One of the biggest designers out there right now. Well,
sorry.
I mean, it's
Yikes. Oops.
No, it's an old.
It's not my job.
No, you're fine. It's an old design house that's been around since the 20s. And I loved their old stuff too. But the new designer is just killing it the last couple of years. He's actually one of the few that I feel like is just being a true artist right now. And it's just, I can't wait to see the shows every time that they come
I'm
out.
going to have to look.
Yeah, it's like pure art.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I know you work with him, and I have to know something because this is so cool that you do. What is it like working with Jelly Roll?
I had a feeling.
I had to ask that because it's just like, first of all, it's so random to think like, not that he has a stylist, but like you just don't think about it. So what is it like working with him, and how did you meet him? How did you get involved in that team?
So he cold called me himself. Yeah, it was word of mouth. I worked with his friend, football player Taylor Lewan.
Okay.
And they were chatting. He was like, I need a stylist. And he was like, oh, you should meet my girl. And so he called me. I just got a phone call from him actually like a week before CMA Fest, like several years ago. I guess it's now been, I think we might be on our 4-year anniversary, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, every CMA Fest is like an anniversary for us. He cold called me and he was like, this is Jelly Roll. And I'm like, hi. And he had just signed or about to sign his record deal, and Save Me was going crazy, online and everything. And yeah.
How cool. What's it like styling for him though? Like, what do you obviously, because he does have a specific look, right? So it actually makes your job, I want to say, easier-ish.
I would say the most difficult thing with him is just timelines.
Okay.
He's so busy and things come up so last minute, and everything's custom. So like
that would be tricky.
I've gotten really good at figuring out custom looks very quickly with him. And also, I mean, working with him is a dream. What you see is what you get with him.
That's what I thought.
That's exactly who he is as a person. And I really like that he lets us do what we do. Like, he trusts the people that do, you know, what their role is on the team. He lets us do what we do. He does have opinions, and he definitely, like, he'll start out the year or a new album cycle with me, and we'll be like, okay, what are you feeling with this one? And then I take that and I roll with it, and he just lets me roll with it for the most part until he has another vision, and then I take that and then I roll with it.
Okay.
So I like that I get to, you know, I get put in like a direction, but then I get to take that direction and roll with it.
Which
is fun. Yeah.
That is fun because that allows you to like be creatively free too a little bit, and that I think that would be more fun in my opinion. Like if my client trusts me enough that I can show a little bit of expression too, and then they like it. I think that's probably a lot of fun.
Kind of what it's like. And like this year, for example, he said he wanted to be a little bit more Johnny Cash inspired. He wants to do mostly all black. Whereas he did let me do a little bit more color previously. So doing that and making it different and fresh each time has been a little bit of a challenge, but it's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I'm gonna bring up one other because he's so good looking. I see you've worked with Tucker Wetmore.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he is so cute.
I know the girlies love him.
I know, and I saw he had a girlfriend. I was like, who doesn't?
No, he's single, ready to mingle.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute. But he's young. I think I'm too old for him, but he is a cute guy. I mean, he seems friendly too.
He's a good human. I mean, his mama raised him right. He is so nice and so polite and yes ma'am, no, you know, all that. Like, he is just a good human and so talented, and he's working his butt off right now. And yeah, I'm very excited and very honored to be on that team. And I finally got to see him perform live actually for the first time just a few weeks ago, believe it or not.
Wait, were you at the Ryman?
Yes.
So was I. That was my first time ever seeing him.
Dude, he killed it. I was so proud of him. I cried.
Well, he was wearing the shirt that is in one of his main pictures, I think. I'm sure you picked that shirt out.
Oh, yeah. There's not much that he wears that I haven't done.
The blue and white cream striped shirt. Wow, I sound like a creep. But I was holding it up because I was like, oh, and I was like, I think that's the shirt that's in this picture. And then you did that shoot. So
yes, I did the shoot. That was done in his hometown, which was cool. So I got to see where he grew up in Washington State.
Oh, cool.
And a lot of it was like on his family's property and stuff. And so you got to kind of live in it with him, and it kind of went with all the songs and all the stories he's been saying. So that was really cool.
How
and special.
Fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Have you ever found any artists, and obviously you don't name names or anything, but have you found anyone to be like overly picky? Like where you made your job hard?
I haven't found it where the actual client is over picky. I've had it where people in the label is over picky. Or not really just over picky, I would say just taking charge. Like, you know, sometimes things are power trips and for some people, and I've been in those situations before. And those aren't fun.
No, that would like stifle me and like what I do.
Yeah, it kind of like ruins like the whole energy of the whole job.
That kind of sucks for the artist too.
Yeah, it's not fun for them either because we all have to feel it and go through it, and it makes being on set not fun, and it's just not a collaborative process, and you're not going to get the best out of people with that as well. Then it becomes a job
for sure.
Yeah.
What would you say is your proudest styling moment? You look back at it and you're like, I did that.
I mean, I have a lot of those. I mean, that's kind of tough because, like, again, a lot of people don't always know the hurdles and the situations that we're put in. And so to make those things happen in like the short amount of time or the teeny tiny little budget or, you know, after everything went wrong, it still came out perfect. Like, a lot of people don't know the backstory of all the looks. So sometimes it may look so simple and whatever from somebody, but like Jelly's items, for example, every single one of those is a challenge for me. Mainly timelines and getting things done. But also too, like sometimes we only have 5 seconds to get dressed, or we only,
Yeah.
So all of them are really special in a lot of reasons. I'm trying to think of one that just like really stands out.
Maybe like a red carpet moment that you remember.
Yeah, red carpet's always a challenge. Actually, my very first tour doing changes was with Kelsey Ballerini. And because I was with her whole first half of her career, like probably the first 3 albums, I think.
Oh, wow.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically until she changed management. And so we did her very first, I think it was like a large theater tour maybe, and she wanted to do changes. But we were still very early on in her career, so you couldn't have like the full wardrobe team that like somebody like Beyonce has or stuff like that. So I had to work with what we were given, but still make changes happen, and also make them so easy that she could almost do it herself throughout the process. And I was so happy with how that came out and how easy those changes were. Like she really was able to do a lot of them by herself when her assistant like couldn't be there or something. And there was not one issue. Like it went flawlessly. And all the looks looked totally different. They like the fans went crazy because they all had like little Easter eggs like behind them. So it was just, that was something that was just a really great collaborative process with some decent challenges that just came out really flawlessly.
Yeah.
And that was really happy. That made me really happy.
Yeah, I feel like those first like 3 albums too are just like so like laying the foundation for who she is today. So that's great that you were a part of that. What would you say is a not so glamorous part of your job that people wouldn't think of? Because when you think styling and shopping and picking out fun outfits, I mean, you don't feel like what could not be glamorous about it? But there's got to be something.
I would say that a lot of it is not glamorous. I would say 75% of it is not glamorous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there are obviously some perks to what we do, but for a lot of it, it's a lot of grit and a lot of unpacking boxes and traveling with a bunch of suitcases and short timelines. And I don't actually go physically shopping very often, which would surprise a lot of people. A lot of my work is done behind a computer or text messaging or calling people or physically. Sometimes I physically get to go to showrooms when I'm in LA or New York, but since we're in Nashville, we have an added layer of obstacles where we have to do everything via like email or phone. And so that's sometimes difficult because you don't always get to physically touch and feel things.
For sure.
But it's kind of all I've ever done. So like I've got it down to science at this point. Probably got one of the biggest UPS accounts on the planet at this point. With a VIP like person I can call if I have
need
issues.
One of those bad.
Yeah, I mean logistics I would say is our biggest part of our job, and that's something that would surprise a lot of people.
Okay. What's the prep like for like a CMA ACM award?
It's a lot.
I know, I was about to say, like how far in advance do you start prepping for that?
That's a shocker too. A lot of times we only get like maybe 2 weeks. I've sometimes gotten a month, but it's not very often.
Okay.
Because there's all these other things leading up to it that we have to do before we can even touch the awards.
Well, and that's one of those few scenarios where a lot of artists are wearing designers and whatnot. Do you reach out to designers or do they reach out to you? How does that work?
Unfortunately, the country music industry is still not treated as like the hot people to dress. And it is very difficult still to this day to get designer approvals.
Whoa.
Even after everything we've done and how many people from other genres that keep coming into our industry, it's still, they'd rather dress them and not us.
That really bamboozles me. Like, I don't understand. Like, because I feel like we have become the genre now, in a sense, and maybe that's my opinion, but that's crazy. Have you had designers like literally actually say no?
Oh, all the time. I get more no's than I get yeses.
You're kidding me.
And it's so hard not to take it personally. So hard. I sometimes will just have to be like, I got to walk away because if I get another no today, because like you give them all the information. You like I pitch just like a publicist would pitch for a story almost.
Sure,
like I have to
okay.
put together an entire like dossier. I think that's the right word, right? Of like basically trying to sell my artist for the brand. And there's also like ways to go about it. Like obviously it's easier to get approved for American designers than it is for European designers. And it's definitely harder for designers like based in like the Middle East and things like that, because there really isn't a country market there. So it's really tough. So I try to make it make sense for everybody, because it needs to be a collaborative experience and they need to get something out of it just like we do. So obviously I'm not trying to get designers that don't make sense, but like if they sell in the United States, it should make sense.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always.
Wow, I did not know that. I thought you could literally just call up somebody and say, can we get that dress for this artist? And they would say, yeah.
No, even Kelsey can't get everything that you possibly
That's crazy. Okay, that's mind-blowing to me. Okay.
Well, even to this day, this is a shocking story that somebody told me once. So I didn't get it straight from the mouth. I got it from one of the assistants. But there's still to this day designers that won't dress Taylor because she started in country.
Stop it right now. The most famous person on our planet can't just get whatever outfit she wants to wear on a red carpet.
She could purchase.
Okay. That's wild. Well, on a lighter note, I would like to do a little bit of a rapid fire with you.
Okay.
Something, I mean, as quick as you can. It's not that big of a deal.
I'm a visual person, so I have to like visualize the question in my head, so I might not be as rapid as some people, but.
Okay, so first one, probably easy. Red carpet or music video?
Red carpet.
Why? And not music video?
Because I like the glamour of a red carpet.
Okay, well, I guess that makes sense after now talking to you for a little bit.
Yeah.
You like okay. Is there somebody, just getting off track, is there somebody that you've been able to like basically portray your old Hollywood dreams on a red carpet?
I did with Kelsey a few times.
Okay.
Actually, my favorite red carpet outfit that we ever did to me was a little bit old Hollywood vibes.
That's cool. Okay. So you've been able to kind of.
And it was the first time we got like custom major designer. It was like custom Michael Kors. It's still to this day, it's still so pretty. I loved it. Yeah.
Okay. Sequins or suede?
Sequins.
Glitz and glam. I mean, I'm sorry, that's not
Yeah.
that, but you like the glam.
Yeah, it's
of it all.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fashion fail that you laugh about now?
Oh, wow. That's a really hard one to do quickly because I'd have to think for a minute, because like normally you're just like on to the next.
How about something that you've done personally? Like, because mine is blue eyeshadow or like white eyeshadow underneath my eye. I remember doing that and I would cringe now. I look back at that.
I've tried it all over the years. Probably just too kitschy. Like,
okay.
I like to stay a little more classic.
Yeah, for sure. Favorite city to shop in?
New York. Paris. Both.
I've never been to Paris, but I imagine. Is there more than just designer shops in Paris that you can shop in?
Oh, yeah. I was wanting to wear a pair of jeans today that came from there, and I never heard of the brand. I still couldn't even tell you what the brand is, and I just saw them in the window, and they're the coolest jeans, but they were dirty. So.
Okay, if you could have only 3 items forever that are fashion related, what would they be?
Blazer. Loafers.
We talked about this before, blazer.
This is personal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very.
Blazer, loafers, and a non-iron white button-up shirt.
So basically your outfit.
Yeah. My uniform.
Do you wear it a lot on set and whatever you're doing too?
No. I mean, to be honest, at fittings, most of the time people see me in yoga pants just because it's very active. And
got to be moving around a lot.
I dress up a little bit for the first fitting with a client, and then after that, they get yoga pants.
And then they get to know you, and you're like, you get yoga pants.
Yeah, or
now.
sweats or whatever. Yeah. But no, on when we're at work, like if we're like on set or if I'm at an award show, I try to like class it up. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. But a lot of work are black.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Who has the best closet in Nashville besides you?
Oh, probably Karen from Little Big Town.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That girl, I want all her boots.
Yeah. Like I heard that she has an insane cool closet. Like,
she has to. She has some of the coolest clothes.
Yeah, she
does. And she's a fashion girly. She loves fashion. So that would be a lot of fun. I bet Lindsay has a blast collaborating with her because
she does her too. Okay.
Yeah. And so like, cause she just loves fashion. Mm-hmm. So, so I would love it. She's got so many cool things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay.
I've never seen it, by the way. I'm just assuming.
I'm assuming, right? It has to be.
It has to be. She's probably got a couple closets.
I gotta ask her next time. Ask Lindsay, what's it like over there? Because like even me being like an artist, I've never used a stylist really because I've had someone come into my closet and pick because I have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, which doesn't usually reflect in my day to day. I'm like usually wearing something like sweats or something. Everyone's like, you have so much crap. Like, why don't you wear it? I'm like, I think it gets overwhelming. I feel like I'm in my own personal HE double hockey sticks in my own closet, being like, I have almost so much to pick from that I just go, I guess it's yoga pants and a sweatshirt today.
It's important to separate your stage clothes from your everyday wear.
But how do those have to correlate? Because don't they to some degree?
I mean,
for branding wise,
it depends on what your stage wear is. But for somebody like Ray, it's very different.
That's very true. That's a good example of that.
Yeah.
Well, I always think about like Lainey Wilson. Like, does she wear bell bottoms every day? Probably
well, she wears her Wranglers that she created with Wrangler.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, see, and I think her brand is very cohesive. Like her stage to me represents, I feel like what I would see her almost out to a dinner in.
Yeah, she's definitely more casual, obviously, when she's like every day. I don't work with her, by the way, but I obviously know her and got to know her very well with Jelly because we would be on set and stuff a lot. So she's a beautiful human inside and out. And but yeah, she's always got her same silhouette. She's figured out what silhouette works for her body and she sticks with it, which is a very smart thing to do.
Do you help artists figure that out a lot of the time? Like where then they can, I was about to say, because I'm sure people walk into you and like have no clue and then you kind of help them.
Yeah, there's always like tips and things like too, like there's ways to elongate yourself in for photos or for stage presence.
Okay, give your best tip right now.
To elongate your legs, try to stick with like no ankle heels. Like you want it to be seamless.
Okay, so one that cuts you off at the ankle? Right. Okay.
Also, if you wear monochromatic colors, that also makes you appear taller in photos.
Love that.
It elongates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Also, I always kind of try to stick, especially in the country music market, obviously pop world, different story. But like the rule of thirds is what I call it. Okay. And it's like showcasing 1/3 of your body at a time will always come across classy, not the other.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
You've heard
like
that.
You're always okay if you rule of thirds.
I love that. People are learning.
So if you're showcasing your legs, you might want to cover up
the top half.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, like for instance, and this is so off track, but like I always get confused when I see like a girl. I think this was like in the 90s. People did this too. Where they'd wear like a denim skirt, but then they put like a tank top and then a scarf. And I'm like, what's happening right now? Yeah. We're confused. What season are we in? But no, I can't.
Yeah.
Okay, so last question is, if somebody is saying they want to be a stylist, a celebrity stylist for more specifically, what would be your biggest tips to them and advice?
I get asked this almost every day. And I get asked all the time by people wanting to like have coffee with me or call me so that I can just tell them everything. And I'm sorry, but I don't have time to do that. But I would say you've got to work hard. You've got to assist, intern. Like it's all about the work. And you've got to be open to learning anything and everything and willing to do whatever. You have to be mendable.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I mean, so do you think that people have to go to college for fashion? Do you
Not
think?
At all. Not at all.
That's music to a lot of people's ears, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Krista, for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun, and because I'm a big fashion girl, so this has been so much fun, and I love your looks, and I think whether you think it or not, you do have a little bit of a style in there.
It's good to know. I didn't think so.
But it's a good thing because I personally think that I think it's nice to have a little bit of your branding on something so people are like, oh my gosh, like they see an artist and they're like, I bet, like, I hope that was Krista. Like, I want to work with Krista. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Hey guys, it's Tiffany Boys. Thank you so much for watching another episode of What's Mine is Yours. Make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to check out more, come visit our socials and follow us at WMIY.podcast.